Leave a message.
Do you hear that, Aunt Jackie? Christmas music. There's a Christmas market outside. I hadn't realised it was so close. I don't like Christmas. I never did. It scared me. All those lights and people being jolly and cheery, and I knew, that just beyond all that was the darkness. All those stories of monsters taking away children who'd been bad. I knew they were out there, just waiting for me. Or Jonathan. Was he ever bad? I don't remember. I was always in trouble for something. I tried to be so quiet and so good, but somehow it was always wrong. But he looked after me. There's blood under my fingernails, Aunt Jackie. I don't know how it got there. I didn't touch her. They always say Christmas is for children, don't they? I remember Christmas at home. We sat there and ate a bad meal, with our parents not talking to each other at all. The fairy lights twinkling against the cold grey of a December morning. No one ever came to call. Not even you, Aunt Jackie. And then presents, half of which were socks or clothes and the other half we'd be bored of by tea time. I never got books. I wanted books. I don't know why we never got books. Then we'd sit down on the uncomfortable sofa and watch a movie, and Jonathan and me, we wanted to go outside and play and shout and scream and just be alive. But it was Christmas, so we had to sit with the family in that room, staring at the screen, all of us simmering with resentment for each other. I hate Christmas. When I could get away, I'd go to the library and find all these books and all these children who sat in panelled rooms in the light of a fire and played Christmas games, and sung carols and laughed and had adventures and loved each other and their parents. And I would sob my heart out, wishing I knew what that felt like. I suppose someone does, somewhere. They can't all be imaginary. I think it's Christmas Day. The streets are silent. I mean, the shops are closed. But I can hear people walking back and forth and saying Merry Christmas to each other, like they're in a fucking Dickens novel. The people upstairs who don't exist are singing a Christmas carol. I keep seeing her looking at me, saying my name, choking my name out in her blood. I didn't call the police. I didn't call anyone. I just watched her die. I waited to feel horrified. All I kept thinking was, this will make a good story for them. For who, Jackie? For you? There are scratches all up and down my arm. People think Halloween is when the ghosts come. They're wrong. That's just a game. They come at Christmas, and we open the door and let them in and say, "Oh, how nice to see old friends." Jackie, how? I didn't go to bed. I sat in the chair all night, listening to that damn Christmas music, and then drunks singing Christmas songs, and then I heard someone singing a Christmas carol, but it was all off-key and wrong, and I heard bells, and then there was something in the corner, by the bookshelves. Not the usual shadows. This was huge and shaggy. Its head scraping the ceiling, its horns scraping the ceiling. I could see it in the lights from outside. Its legs were all wrong, backwards at the knees, and it just stood there and stared at me. I tried to say something. I tried to scream. I wasn't paralyzed. I could have moved, I think, if I had wanted to. But I didn't want to. I just wanted to look at it. There was something in my hand. A heavy stone, round, with ridges on. I didn't know where it had come from. Did someone give it to me? Did someone walk in and give it to me and I'd forgotten? Did it come from Jonathan? I wasn't afraid. I'm scared of everything. The dark and loud noises and groups of boys and strange places and fast cars. And now there was a monster in the front room. The Christmas lights outside flickered on it, the green and the red and the blue, and the twinkling silver lights highlighting the skin and the eyes and this chest, and I could see it was breathing, and I wasn't scared, not even a little. And then dawn came on Christmas Day, a rare bright dawn, sky like a pearl, and it got light enough for me to see it was real. It was there. And it was looking at me like I was some sort of experiment. Then it was gone. And all the books in the bookcase had changed. The books that were there before weren't there anymore. All those battered paperbacks and torn dust jackets and library stamps had gone. Instead, there was a brand new collection. All big, heavy books in hardback, with musty, mottled paper and dust on the edges. I suppose it was a Christmas present. I know you'll just say I didn't see them before, but now they all had a book plate inside. It said R-U-E, Rue. I'm not entirely sure if that's a place or a warning. And they were written by people called Cheveley and Millington and McGowan. I didn't read them. I don't want to read them. Except I do. I found my hand reaching out for them. I found myself turning the pages. I stared down at the words, at names I didn't know I knew, things I had never seen and yet recognized. I heard myself murmur, "Tell me everything." I wanted to know, Jackie. I wanted to know what the book said. Something is happening to me here, Jackie, and I won't let it. I can't let it. I'm changing. I'm not the person I was when I came here. Why can't I remember things? How has so much time passed? I don't remember eating or even sleeping anymore. Am I dying? I want to be who I was before. I want to be quiet, shy Fiona, who never does anything interesting and never gets anything right. I'd leave if I could, but I need to find Jonathan. I thought he'd be out there in the streets, but he's not, is he? He's here, in this flat somehow. I just have to find the place where he is hidden. I know I sound mad, but people have believed mad things for years, and we think how silly to believe in that. And yet churches have exorcists, and we light the lights at Christmas to keep the dark at bay and avoid graveyards at night. It was you that told me the stories when I was little. You told me about the little girl that walked across the fields nearby, and the thing in the attic, and why the kitchen cupboards never stay closed. And my parents told you not to tell me them, but you did anyway, and then told me to repeat them in my own voice. My voice matters, you said. It's not the blood, it's the voice. There are silver lights everywhere. Jackie, I read some of the books. I couldn't stay away. I read them by the light of the Christmas lights across the street. I felt it. Years back, years and years, people in these books gave them to each other for Christmas, settled in front of the fire to tell each other ghost stories, came together in cosy rooms to shut out the dark and what they knew was out there. They were alone all year, and then at Christmas they sat together and told each other it would be all right, it would work out. During war and disease and death and all the horrible things the world went through, the people that wrote these books spared just a couple of days to be together at Christmas. Why am I alone? I read so fast. It was almost like I already knew the stories. I was just reminding myself. The ship with the bodies, and the librarians with the spiders, and a poltergeist in Bradford. I could hear the stories in my head. And it's odd. I could hear it in my voice, but she was sharper, harsher, more confident. It sounded like my voice, but it wasn't me. But now I know. I'm not the only one this has happened to, is it? All the things that I am experiencing, the thing I saw last night, and the shadows that burn and the missing time. My brother! Is that where Jonathan is? The Blue Lands? Can I get him back? If I do this ritual right, can I get him back? I can hear the people upstairs. The ones that don't exist. Maybe I'll go and ask them for some food. I don't think I've eaten in a while. I don't remember eating. I'm taking the phone with me. Here I go. This looks different. The hall looks different. It was this horrible faded wallpaper before, but now it's pink. I can hear them upstairs. They're having a party. I can hear a piano and people singing. So I'm going to knock on the door. Empty. Of course. But a different kind of empty. It doesn't feel deserted. It feels like they just stepped into a different room. There's black cloth all over the windows. That wasn't there before. Hang on. Jackie, London is on fire. I can see it. There are planes overhead and fire in the distance, all over it. Sheets of it. I can see it in the distance. It must be all up and down the river. And searchlights in the sky. And people running up and down the street. Wait, what is this? What am I seeing? How can I be seeing this? Wait, hold on. Jackie, I went back to my flat and looked out the window and London was normal. And then I went back upstairs and the flat was different again. It was sackcloth over the windows, and when I pushed it aside, it was like the country out there. I mean, there was a road, but it was mud. And I could see fields and cows and... I think I read about this in the books. Something about Versailles and Bow Street. Jackie, I read all night. Again. I think perhaps it's the same night. Is it still Christmas Day? The night doesn't seem to end anymore. I found a book with your name in it. Jacqueline Bartlett. All about time slips. I saw another time, I think. Is that possible? Maybe it was a dream. I want to go outside, but the door was locked. I don't know how. I didn't lock it. I ought to be scared, but I'm not. Where else would I go but here? I fell asleep over the books, and I woke up, and I saw them all. The shadow standing there watching me. And then I heard a voice. She was telling stories, telling ghost stories, and she sounded like me. Jackie, why don't you answer? Why don't you help? Last night I made a decision. I was going to leave. This is all too much. I can't do this. I packed my bags. I got a knife and a hammer from the kitchen drawer to break down the door, but it was open. Standing open, ready for me. Then I heard a voice from the kitchen saying my name. It wasn't Jonathan. It was you. I turned, and that was a mistake. The door slammed shut. There was scratching in the walls, like rats. I heard footsteps above me, behind me, around me. I turned back. I could see daylight outside. The last rays of the sun, blood red, and the lights from outside, all those Christmas lights, making every corner bright, and they stood there. All these people, men and women, and some of them were burned. Flesh hanging off them in strips, and some dripped with water, and they just stood there and watched me, waiting for me to do something, and I screamed at them, "What do you want from me?" Then one of them gestured at my hands. They were covered in blood. Her blood. The shopkeeper's blood. And the lights outside weren't Christmas lights anymore. They were blue police lights. And there was pounding on my door and someone calling my name. I knew I had a choice. Go with the police or go with the shadows. I have always had an affinity for the darkness. You told me, and my brother told me that, and my parents as they died told me I was wrong. I was wicked. I was evil. So I stepped forward and held out my hands to the shadows, and they took them. I made my choice, Jackie, for Jonathan, because if I can, I'll find him. I won't abandon him. I know people think he can't be my real brother because he was adopted and so was I, but even when he left and went back to his birth name, he was still my brother. We looked after each other and ran away together and told each other secrets, and I won't leave him. Not now, Jackie. You always told me words matter, especially the ones spoken out loud. So here it is. My name is Fiona Riley, and I will willingly do anything to find my brother, Jonathan Ellington. That was episode 3 of The London Shadows, a Rue Papers story, written, created, and performed by Emma Butler. Episode 4 will come tomorrow. Remember, some stories should not be read, and some stories should not be listened to.